If somebody is not acting in the way that you would like them to act, or something has gone amiss, you must remember that it's not about you. And not everything is always about us. People are going through their own personal bullshit, their own personal process, their own stuff, their own healing, or not their own healing, and they're not behaving in the way that you want them to behave is not personal. And so it's important to take a deep breath and remember that. So maybe as I shuffle these cards, we can do that together. Just take a deep breath and realize nothing is about you. It's not personal. They're not necessarily, nobody is sitting around strategizing on how to ruin our day. They're probably just thinking about themselves. I'm Kristen. This is a tarot card reading. How are you doing today? This channel is about self-awareness, personal growth, healing, curiosity, play, and today I'm doing that with tarot. So let's get to it. That's jumping out. This is jumping out. Okay, so we have this Nine of Pentacles. Being in your sovereignty, accepting your own sovereignty. Sometimes we dump our own sovereignty because people are not behaving the way that we want them to behave. And we don't drop and ignore our own sovereignty on purpose. We would never do that on purpose, but sometimes when we get activated in our nervous system because something hasn't gone our way, or we're not getting this feeling of connection with someone that we really, really want. Maybe there was a spark of a connection, or there was, a time together or an experience that felt beautiful and you felt that togetherness. And it feels like when you have that connection, it feeds your sovereignty in a way, right? Because have sovereignty isn't always about isolating and being by ourselves all the time and always getting it done ourselves, and we have to do it ourselves. Absolutely. We should be, the captains of our own ship. We should be there for ourselves. We should know that we can get it done ourselves. But it can feel very resourced when we have people around us, when we have connection. And when we feel like that connection is not there, sometimes it's sort of like the fuel it's like there's a hole in the gas tank and all of a sudden the gas just all pours out. And that resource, the gas in that engine, that is yours, and you can always replenish that yourself. And the Four of Pentacles can be holding too dear to your own ideals of what you think something should be and not letting it evolve and being in flow. There is a place of getting to know somebody else within the container that you hold together. There's you, there's them, and then there's the third entity that is the relationship in and of itself. And it can take time to get to know someone. Sometimes we throw our heart out too hard and fast. Sometimes they do. Sometimes the spark happens a little bit, too fast, too furious. And then it just sort of like fades out just as quick. And then other times it's this slow, meandering sort of like burning flame that never quite catches and goes anywhere. And it can be like wondering what's going on. Which direction is this going in? And it's sort of like, can you just sit in your own internal heat, in your own internal tension, using how you're feeling this situation, this connection, this potential connection, right? Because everything is just potential until there is an action taken. And even when actions are taken, it is what's the next step and the next step and the next step. You're always reevaluating and you're always growing and changing, as so is somebody else. And that doesn't mean that you're nitpicking them or you're nitpicking you. It means you're always observing the growth and the change and the transformation within yourself and another, and how that third entity then responds to this change, that change. And does this need to change? Does it not need to change? Ooh. King of Swords. So somebody is wanting to get very clear. Somebody who's really, really good at speaking. who's really good at being a storyteller. You know, they can express their emotions often through relating stories, and they know how to weave a conversation in a way that can be very clear, very direct, very poetic, and can feel like it's exactly everything that you want and you need to hear right now. This person is also very direct. There's also something about, you know, this person has to use their words wisely on a daily basis in their career. And that practiced everyday, you know, ability to use words and to be able to speak clearly and directly and to be able to weave a conversation with each and every person according to exactly what they need. How did they need to hear it? And perhaps they knew exactly how to talk to you in a way that made you understand something about yourself, something about them. Maybe there was a shift, maybe there was a change. Maybe there was a yielding. There was a yielding to, you know, vulnerability. There was a place where you felt humbled and vulnerable, and that made you feel strong. There was a place where that person also humbled and had a very vulnerable moment, and within the creation of that moment where the exact words were weaved together in a way that made everything fall into place, and it felt very freeing. It felt like there was a structure that was being created. There was creation of, you know, a scaffolding of how things could be built between the two of you, and it felt very free and very fluid. And like there was a give and a take, and it was like I yield, you know, I give up power to you, you give up power to me, and within that there is an even stronger power created together. But then somebody didn't do or say what you wanted to hear after that, right? After you have that moment, you're sort of waiting for the same moment to be created again and again. And maybe not the exact same moment to be created again and again, but something sort of like it, or feeling like this is the direction that this is moving in. And then that person just isn't behaving. And so I know the question is, you know, why do we need them to behave that way? What is it that we're not giving ourselves? Or what is it that we're questioning within ourselves? These are always situations that really are great learning points for us to understand getting clear on ourselves, what we want and what we need, what we're willing to compromise on, what reciprocity means for me personally. You know, what do I want to put up with? What do I not want to put up with? As fantastic as the potential is, as everything that you see that could be, what is in reality what you need to see happening in order for you to feel safe to continue that vulnerability with this person. Because there is potential, there is a connection, there's romance here, there's fire here, there's emotion here, there's emotional intimacy here. There's a structure that comes from a passionate chemistry. But there is emotional intimacy, and there's a desire for even deeper emotional intimacy, and that is absolutely there. And maybe there needs to be space for both parties involved, because you need it too. Take the moment, take the space to discover what you want and you need. It never hurts to have time to step back after feeling the rush of desire and passion and potential and what could be, and to realign with what you need and what you want, and to be able to know that you can speak that personal truth. Because in order for this to grow and stay in a place that is an evolution, that is a creation, because all partnerships, they're a seed, and that seed sprouts, and then it grows, and it comes the flower or the tree that continues to grow, and it never stops growing, and it has to be able to endure what elements come. There's not enough rain this year. There's not enough sun this year. No one's coming to fertilize. How do we nurture ourselves in every single element and cycle of the relationship? And when you know what you need, and you can be clear about that, that's helpful to somebody else. Boundaries create intimacy. So having that safety within your own personal resource, the safety within yourself, to be able to not be afraid to say, this is what I need and want. I desire you. I desire to be vulnerable with you. I desire to create with you. I want to feel safe with you, to be my most intimate self and to share that. And I want you to feel that way with me, requires a very deep clarity about what you want. And to be okay with hearing all of that stuff back in return from that other person. To be able to sit in a space with that, with them. To be able to hold space together. You know, as you go through the spiral of this ever-evolving third entity that you've created. While always staying sovereign. Because you love them for the person they are themselves, and they love you for the person you are. That's what you care about. Thank you. That is it. I love you. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know what resonates in the box below. Please subscribe if you're feeling like you would like to, that you want to hear more. This channel is all about, as I said, personal growth. And sometimes I do it with tarot. Sometimes I just talk to you. Sometimes there'll be meditations. So if you're interested in that, check the subscribe box. And I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye.